Please welcome Brian Fabes of the Corporate Coalition of Chicago and newly elected Chicago School Board member Audrey Williams-Lee.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Audrey Williams-Lee, but I'm actually not going to talk to you yet. So we are going to have Brian Fabes, but also Bridget Altenburg, who is CEO of Skills for Chicagoland's Future, and they'll talk a bit about what's happening in Chicago.
Thanks, Audrey. Audrey's on my board at Skills for Chicago, so I'm very excited that I get to be here, even though it's okay. I didn't have a good picture anyway, so it's great. But
Nothing beats being live with you, Bridget.
It's true. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Chicago, the Windy City, the city of big shoulders, the hog butcher of the world, Paris on the prairie, Chi-Town. There'll be more. I'm told that since I'm an Army brat and never lived anywhere more than a couple years, and now that I've lived here 22 years and married a Chicagoan, I get to call it my hometown, but only because I already had a Midwestern accent. As she said, I'm Bridget Altenburg. I'm the CEO of Skills for Chicago. It's a nonprofit that helps bridge the gap between employer hiring processes and overlooked talent. So really excited to be here with all of you and to share our knowledge and learn from each other. So why are we here in Chicago? Other than it's the best city in the world, and we're very humble here. There's a lot of great stuff happening in Chicago around workforce innovation. The Chicago Apprenticeship Network, City Colleges, the Exchange, IT Career Lab, and many others have created unique apprenticeships that help candidates earn while they learn and get into professional roles at companies like Cisco, Accenture, and Aon. Companies like Discover, SDI, Advocate, Blue Cross and Blue Shield have made place-based investments in neighborhoods on the south and west sides of Chicago, making sure that they're providing not just neighborhood jobs, but economic growth to local businesses. The Civic Committee of the Commercial Club made a bold goal to make Chicago the safest big city in the country and backed it up by raising millions of dollars and connecting community violence intervention organizations and workforce organizations for the first time. And of course, the Corporate Coalition and their many employer partners have expanded fair chance hiring, recognizing that 1/3 of Americans have a criminal background and deserve a fair chance. These ventures show us that in Chicago, civic responsibility isn't something that's just a nice way to engage employees. In Chicago, civic leadership is expected. But Chicago is also a humble city. The third coast, second city, the city that works. In Phoenix, they did an amazing job collaborating between government, higher education, and business to bring semiconductor jobs to the region and worked with community colleges to build a training program so that overlooked talent could get into those jobs. In Texas, job seekers can get scholarships to pay for childcare while they're either training or in job search. And in Colorado, they're tightening connections between K-12 higher ed and jobs. We've got a lot to learn from those cities and from those of you who flew in from all over the country. Here's my ask. I'm hopeful that these 2 days will inspire all of us to do more to level the playing field for overlooked talent and to see ourselves not just as corporate leaders, but as civic leaders. I want to introduce my friend and colleague, my partner in crime when it comes to helping employers break down barriers in hiring, Brian.
Thank you, Bridget. Can you hear me? I got a yes. So I'm Brian Fabes. I run the Corporate Coalition of Chicago, which is a network of companies committed to rethinking what we all do in our day jobs. We all invest capital, we all buy stuff, and we all hire people and hopefully support them. And how can we do those things in new and different ways that both advance our businesses and reduce long-term economic and racial inequities in the region? Now, Bridget has told you why Chicago. Before we go on to my part, which is why now, you missed the most important part of Chicago, it's the weather. Now, if those of you who did not enjoy the rain yesterday, if you did not enjoy the blustery clouds this morning, you'll be happy to know between 4:06 and 4:12 p.m. this afternoon, the sun is scheduled to shine, proving once again there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. So, why now? Well, as Angela mentioned, there are headwinds left and right, I think was your expression, and the economy is a question to many people. But regardless of what's going on right now, we all know, I think, the broad trends, which are that labor force participation is decreasing over time. The workforce is aging over time. Not Bridget or me, but the other workforce is aging over. Anyone in this room is aging over time. Immigration is slowing. And if we are going to reshore jobs, all that says that there'll be greater demand to find and retain and support people, and there is churning and uncertainty in the workforce. And that is why now, if ever, is a time to have this gathering. In terms of a give and an ask, I want to give some new data, and that's what, can we throw that slide up there? This is a survey the Corporate Coalition commissioned of a representative sample of Chicagoans, meaning across race, across class, across gender, across geographies, and pretty much any other way you could think about it. Representative Chicago, and we asked what are your expectations of business leaders in Chicago? And those expectations are in the red-orangish lines. And what this says is that 86% of Chicagoans, which are Chicagoans in general, and they are your employees if you're a Chicago employer, say it is extremely or very important that Chicago business leaders provide good paying jobs. It's important that they train or reskill employees. And more than 80% also think it is either extremely or very important that they invest in communities. Which is to say that the vast majority of people believe that the things we're talking about today are critical responsibilities of business leaders. Now the blue lines say how well is our leadership doing in these things, and those lines aren't as long as you can tell as the orange ones. They say by and large we are not performing at the expectations, at the high expectations that people give us. I think that's actually in a way good news because it says that we have a gap we can fill, there's an opportunity to fill this gap. So these data are my give. My ask is not that you help fill this gap, because I know you're in this room because you're helping to fill this gap. My ask is slightly different. What we're talking about is a new way to do business. We're talking about a new culture of doing business. And we do not create that new culture without talking about it. And not just talking about it in this group of believers, but how do we talk about putting humanity back in work? How do we talk about creating a new culture of doing work with people who may be skeptical, with people who may have different views? That's my ask of you. I think you'll find lots of exciting things to talk about today, but let's talk about those beyond this room.